Hey everybody, how are you guys today? I have a very special guest on, and I'm actually surprised I have not invited him on sooner. But his name is Joe White, and he is a life coach. He has studied directly under Tony Robbins. He has had his own life coaching business for, I think, over 20 years. I'm not sure if it's at 25 years or not. But I'm going to have him on today because he has helped thousands upon thousands of people break barriers in their mind and just, overcome addiction. He's done interventions. He's helped people with business, overall health, and he made a big difference in my life as well. So I just figured, I have to have him on because something triggered in me the other night. I was watching one of his live videos and I was thinking about how many people are just playing small in their lives in general, with everything, with business, with relationships, with their career, anything that they really want in life. They're playing small. And I just I have to realize I have to take a step back and realize that I've been working on myself for about, 15 years. And not everybody has done that work. So I wanted to invite Joe on just to talk a few minutes about what he does and how important it is to break barriers, to stop the limiting self-talk, and how you can actually implement some tools that hopefully he will give us today. So with that, I am going to invite him on.
Hey! There we go.
Hello, how are you?
You made me sound really old. I mean, he's been doing this for all these years. And
well, no, you were only 4 when you started. So
I was.
So, well, thanks so much for taking a few minutes to be on here today. And I actually am surprised we haven't done this sooner. But, when I was watching your live the other night, like I was saying, I think so many people, and I see it every single day in my personal life and in my professional life, so many people are playing small. And when you were talking about, breaking barriers and getting what you want, and how we're so afraid to be our ultimate selves, it really kind of, stuck with me. And you're talking about how we get our emotional needs met. So I wanted my viewers, my network, to kind of see what you do with people, how you create change, and how life coaching is different than therapy. Not knocking therapy, I love therapy, but it's just it is a totally different
mindset. I'm
glad
you do.
What's that?
I said, I'm glad you like therapy.
I know you didn't like it. All right. So if you want to give a little bit of background, you were addicted to drugs and alcohol, and you actually overdosed to the point where you died, but they revived you. Yeah, you were dead. They revived you, and you came back the next week and did drugs again because drugs weren't.
No. I overdosed on a Friday, and I got Al St. Vincent's. It's no longer there. It used to be in Manhattan. And I got out the next day, a Saturday, and I used, just to prove that drugs couldn't get the best of me.
So everyone out here who is dealing with an addict right now, who you are not an addict, by the way, but maybe a loved one is, you're not going to fix that. Correct?
No, the problem with addicts, the problem with non-addicts is they think rationally when it comes to it. So you lose your house, you lose your job, you lose your kids, and they must be at rock bottom, right? But rock bottom for an addict is death, because we always think that we're an example. I used to work at this major nightclub. I moved to New York late 80s, early 90s to do modeling, and I had like 3 or 4 people who were dying, like in the nightclub, overdose. And like the people who didn't overdose, we all believed it wasn't going to be us, right? They didn't know what they were doing. They did it wrong, right? And it's not the case, but it's that rational BS that we tell ourselves And yeah, like it's not, man. You know, the addict has to be absolute willing to do what it takes, whatever it takes to get clean.
And that's what I kind of want to talk about, because I think just addiction and just people in general, when you talk about we only change when we have a significant emotional event, or when, you know, the pain of our current way of getting our needs met is more painful than the thought of anything else. So can you kind of talk about that, like just in general, how you tip people that way?
Well, I mean, like, we change three ways. Number one, we become satiated, right?
Yeah.
Satiated, like, think of a sponge, and it has like one drop of water on the sponge, one drop of water comes out. It can't take anymore. The problem with satiation is the fact that we believe we're there when we're not. Like, we can suffer great, especially in our country. We can suffer so good. I can't take it anymore is code for another decade, right? So we got to be careful with that, because it costs us time, right? Because we're not really at that point that we think we are. Number two is a significant emotional event. Death of a loved one, health scare, loss of career, but that's a high price. The third one usually involves a little bit of one or two, but a thing we call proactivity, where we just start to believe that we are here on this earth for more. See, we are sold a bill of goods very early on that average is okay. Like, average is good. And I'm not talking about the whole everyone gets a trophy, right? But
Right.
average is good. Don't be too great. Don't be too successful. You know, Barbara, you're working yourself too hard. Barbara, this should be important to you, not that, right? I get that. Your viewers get that. I had a girl that came to one of my seminars. She came to better her life. 3 of her friends called her that day and said, you don't need to go to that. You are just fine. Average sucks. Being fine sucks. If you know anything about the human body, there's not an organ or a cell in our body that's average. Our brain, our feet, 7,800 nerve endings on our feet. Walking is one of the most complex things we do, but we do it well. Our kidneys, our livers, our bodies are an amazing machine, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are put on this earth to do absolutely amazing things. The problem is, we have to step outside consistently, take massive, consistent, persistent action, right? And when we do that, we don't always get the result. So we set up an average, right? We learn to set SMART goals, which is this absolute bullcrap, because if you ever set a big ass goal and you began to not achieve it, so you start lowering that goal, and you got like a lower goal, like, I'm going to get 10 new people, and like, you know, in a month, and you're only at 2, you go, well, you know, I'm going to reset it to 4. No one I've ever met in the history of my life has ever lowered a goal and was happy they got it, because they knew they were here on this earth for more. Now, we talk ourselves into it. You know, it's a stepping stone. We don't need stepping stone. We need to be inspired to live an incredible life. And I don't just mean financially. It could be financially. It could be have a great body, relationship with God, with your friends, with your kids, you know, to visit the world, to help other people. Whatever you define success is. But the big thing is, we have to get out of this mentality that average is acceptable, man. Average sucks.
Yes, it does. It does. And so many people just kind of have that feeling, well, this is my lot in life, you know, and they do, they just settle because they think there's nothing better out there for them, or they just think that it's too impossible of a task. Like with people who need to lose hundreds of pounds, for example, you know, the thought of doing that is just monumental in their minds. And then when they start and you tell them, look, do a little at a time, still, you know, if you know, they go 1 week and they've only lost a pound, then they feel like they failed and they stop, you know, and they just feel like, well, that was too hard. So what is the mindset of that person? Is it the same thing?
Well, the thing that keeps anyone and everyone from getting what they want comes down to 2 things. Number one, we only go after what we believe we can achieve. So we can set a big ass goal, but if we don't really believe subconsciously we'll get it, we'll take enough action to get a result that we can feel comfortable with achieving. Okay? So we'll do something, and that's our baseline. And we only go after what we believe we're really worthy of. So we live in two worlds, Barbara. We live in the world of our identity, and that's who we walk through this world as day to day, but also our core, like who we really are. And we've all been there, right? And like, think of times in your life when you felt grounded or excited or full of emotion, whether it's walking on the beach, helping other people, working out, praying, meditating, doing my seminars, firewalking, all that stuff, right? I feel alive. When I play with my 4-year-old daughter, I feel alive, right? That they are moments and signs that we're in our core. So what happens is we go after we set goals and outcomes for things to achieve that we know we can't achieve or we believe we can't, right? So we don't take great action. We take, I call it the Costco buffet. We dabble, right? And we don't commit to anything because we don't want to be disappointed. And that's the killer, right? We don't want to be disappointed. I don't care if I fail. I don't care if I get disappointed because I'm committed to the outcome. And in the process of, like, let's say, losing weight, it's not about losing weight. You can't control your weight. You can't say, I'm going to lose 3 pounds right now. But I can control what I put in my body. I can control how I move my body. That's why it's so important to have a vision that is greater than any result and tie that to your core and align that with your identity. So it's the pursuit of living your life healthy. It's a pursuit of growing your business. You got to love to play the game. You just can't wait until you win the Super Bowl or the championship to have that excitement because it's so few and far between. You got to love the pursuit of that because in that pursuit, you feel alive. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So what do you tell those people who say they want all of those things and they really do? I think they believe that, but there's something still preventing them from taking that action to get started. Or maybe they do start, they see a little success, get freaked out, and then they stop.
Yeah, because they want the t-shirt. When I was younger, I was a big Guns N' Roses fan. So Guns N' Roses were coming to Philly, true story.
Okay.
And a friend of mine called me and said, Joe, man, are you going to see GNR tonight? And I'm like, yeah, are you going there? And she goes, no, but can you do me a favor? Can you buy me a t-shirt? I'm like, what the hell do you want a t-shirt for, man? You're not going to the concert. I know I can't afford the concert, so get me the t-shirt. I'm like, screw you, dude. I'm not buying you a t-shirt. If you want a t-shirt, get your ass to the concert. Like people want like the experience, but not the commitment. They want to feel they're doing something. So they'll sign up for the gym. They'll sign up to start a business. They want to feel like, oh, I'm the new part of it, right? They want to feel excited. But, to get what you want, you have to take massive, consistent, persistent action in any area. And part of the human psychological dynamic is that we overestimate what we think we can do. And we underestimate the amount of time, money, energy, effort, and resources it takes to achieve it. I'll say it again. We overestimate our own ability. How hard can that be, right? And we underestimate the amount of time, money, energy, and effort to get that. So what we need to do is take so much freaking action. It covers any setbacks, any challenges, whether it's in our head or maybe you get sick or maybe your mom gets sick or your kid gets sick and derails you a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. And this is the example I use all the time, right? If any parent out there, I hate saying this, but this is true. If your child gets sick, we have AI DuPont right near my house, one of the most amazing hospitals. If you took your child there and they said, I'm sorry, but there's nothing we can do for your kid, no parent I know would say, okay, let's go home and measure a casket. We would take massive, consistent, persistent action. We would go to every specialist, every option, every resource, spend hours on the internet researching it, and we will spend every dollar that we have, every dollar we would make for the rest of our lives until there was no other option. That's massive, consistent, persistent action. And if you want to say something is that important in your life, one of these things, not everything, that's an absolute must in your life, then that's a level that you have to play at, because that's how we produce our results, right? The Eagles won the Super Bowl not because they practiced one day in August and they were done. Every single day they practice. Every single day they push their limits. That's how you become great. If you want a great relationship, every single day you work to improve your connection with that person that you love. Work through communication issues. Work through your own self-doubts, your own fears. It's the same formula, but we don't want to extend ourselves that much. So we just take a little bit of action, the Costco buffet, we get a little bit of results, and that brain kicks in and go, see, I told you so. And then we settle down with our tribe and we choose to be average, and we have all these reasons and stories to say, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it again, or it wasn't my fault because Obama was in office, or Trump was in office, or my mommy and my daddy. And that's never the case.
What do you say to the people who, people that I know in business, they're starting this and they want to get on and do a business and all of this, but they're so afraid of what other people are thinking about them. So how do you break that? Because I just know, like I said, I don't care what anybody thinks about me, but I also know that I've been through a lot of things where I'm kind of numb to it. So what do you do to help people get over that?
Well, it might be a bit inappropriate, but F them, right? I mean, for real, because I live by two quotes in my life that have impacted me. Number one is from one of my favorite authors of all time, William Shakespeare, that guy, and from Hamlet, above all else, to thine own self be true. Right? That's our responsibility. That's our duty, to be true to yourself, whatever it is, right? Whatever you believe in your heart, to be true to that. And yes, there is a process of defining and redefining what you are. Look, I'm 51 years old, okay? I have a 4-year-old daughter. What's important to Joe today is different when I was 41 years old, okay? So I'm evolving. So you got to be true to yourself. Number two is from Kurt Cobain of Nirvana. And my favorite quotes there is Kurt goes, I'd rather be hated for who I am than loved to what I'm not. Right? And I've done that, man. I spent so many decades of my life trying to be something for everyone. And it's freaking exhausting. I never feel fulfilled. I never feel enough because I'm so busy. I end up losing myself. I feel disconnected to my body, to my soul, man. Right? So you got to know yourself. You got to stay true to yourself. And people come in your life for a season, a reason, or for a lifetime. Mm-hmm. And not everyone's meant to be in your life. And some people are meant to support us, and some people are meant to inspire us because they light a fire under our ass. Right? Mm-hmm. Love your family, choose your tribe, right? Love those people who are of your family. If they don't support you, love them, man, right? You only get one set of family. But find a tribe that believes in you and pushes you, right? And supports you. Because if you spend your life trying to chase other people's approval, you're just going to feel empty inside, right? And at some point, expectations won't get met. And you'll get bitter and you'll get angry, and it's not, you can't control it, man. The only thing that you can control, Barb, is what you think, what you say, what you feel, and you do. That's it. Everything else is influence. And what happens is we try to control other people. I want Barbara to give me approval, so I try to control you somehow. Or I worry about it in my head and I do stress patterns, right? And I run loops, I run angst in my body, right? And that's this mechanism of feeling of control. But when you do that, you abandon what's under your control, what you think, what you say, what you feel, and you do. So we got to get back to that. Focus on you. And this is going to sound like woo-woo, fluff, Kool-Aid crap, but you are enough. Everyone here on this earth is enough. And just because sometimes we feel like we're not enough doesn't mean that we are not enough. I'll say that again. Everyone feels like they're not enough. We all go through that. Relationship, expectations, career, family, spirituality, whatever it is. But just because we feel like we're not enough for a period doesn't mean that we are not enough. And we all got to find our place, and we don't know what that place is. For most of us, we end up, 20 years ago, you never thought you'd be sitting in the car talking to me, doing what you're doing.
No.
Your life was on a whole different trajectory. So was mine, man. I was a DJ, right? That's what I was. I DJ weddings and parties. Now I do all sorts of firewalking. We work with Google, GE, great companies, local businesses, individuals, relationships, right? So you have to kind of trust the process. One of my favorite books, and I don't know if you read it, but like for everyone who's watching, is a book called The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. Because it talks about, there's a story about this young boy, Santiago, searching for his own personal legend. And that's where, even though it's overused, we have to trust the process. We just got to keep walking, keep going after what we believe in our hearts. And we end up where we want to be. We end up where we're supposed to be. It's not a straight line. It's going to be rocky. You will be tested. But we end up where we belong if we stay true to thine own self.
Very true. I remember one of the first assignments you gave me was that I had to write who I was at my core. And I think I wrote like 2 sentences.
And people still do that today. It's still the homework I give all the freaking time.
Because I was like, well, I thought he wanted me to like just kind of focus on the main thing of who I am. But when you said, no, it needs to be a couple pages long, I thought, okay, well, I have to really think about who I am, and what I feel that I am. And ever since, I started doing things like that, then I know that my actions, does this align with who I am, and so it's a little bit easier once you really do that work on yourself to kind of have the tools to where you're navigating your own way, and you're not relying on someone else to fill something in you or, to make you feel like you can do something or you can't do something,
Right.
Yeah.
And like one of the big focal points of what we do here at Get Life Coaching is not only do we help people find that inner alignment, but probably even more important, we give them the tools. We train them to be coaches in their own lives. Because no one calls me at 10 o'clock in the morning. I mean, 10 o'clock at night, I won't answer, right? You don't pay me enough to lose sleep over your problems, right? I don't want you to be dependent on me. I'm not a therapist. I want you to find your own independence. And we do that by using and learning tools to how to coach ourselves. Sure, we can all use coaches to help us stay streamlined, efficient, avoid the ditches. But at the end of the day, we got to know how to navigate ourselves. Right. And once you get on that side and be willing to take full responsibility for it, your life becomes easier because look, man, whether I win today or I lose, whether I step up or I step down, I have no one to blame but me.
Right.
Or I'm that person I rely on first. Right. We can build a team, but it's up to me to get my ass up in the morning and go where I want to go.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And I love how when you said, responsibility is exercising your ability to respond. It's not, it's actually empowering. It's not like, oh, I'm taking all the responsibility. It's all my fault. It's, I'm exercising that ability to respond to the things around me. And it just makes you feel more empowered to do those things,
Yeah, it's scary at first. It's like skydiving. If you ever skydive, it's like that first step, right? It's like, oh my God, right? But then once you're like in free fall, you go, this is pretty freaking cool. So when you take full responsibility for life, it's scary at first because we're so used to being a victim to our lives and to other people and to all that crap. But once we step out there, it feels so freeing. It's so freeing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I love when you use the boat analogy, and I really recognize that anytime I'm not where I want to be or I see something of where I want to be, and then if I think about a reason why I can't do it, then I'm like, well, that's a boat, I just have to burn the boat and do it. So it's sort of like going all or nothing into everything in your life without having that safety backup, So even if you're going to be like an entrepreneur, it's the same thing. You have to kind of go all in with it and not worry about, you know, having a fallback. Because when you have a fallback, you don't put 100% into it.
Correct. Correct.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Right. And you can be intelligent about it. There's stuff I do today at 51, you know, or stuff I don't do today I would have done when I'm younger, and vice versa. I can be intelligent about it, but still, like if you love your hand, think poker, you got to go all in. If you love your hand, you got to go all in. And it doesn't mean you go in every time, but if you love your hand, you got to go all in. That's the only way, right? As soon as you start playing not to lose, you've lost.
Yes. Yes, that is so true. Playing to win rather than playing not to lose. It's safe. It's safe, you know?
And safe doesn't get you anywhere in life, man.
Yeah. So true.
You know that.
Yes, yes. Well, and you know, just one more thing. How do you help couples? Because I know so many couples, and I know you talk about, you know, usually it's just a tweaking of energy, you know. I know so many couples who are out of that, and I feel like it's just a matter of they're not communicating, or they're just not in their right energy, you know. And when I tell my friends, you know, when they're going through all these things, I'm like, you know, really, maybe you guys should just go back to like really getting down to male and female energy, you know. So I know you deal with that. So what is the best tip that you have for couples that you always employ to kind of get them on track with that?
Well, real quickly, there's two things that are required to be in a great relationship, right? You got to be a good team fit, right? Mm-hmm. So if someone's 9 to 5, that's not a good fit for me. There's no 9 to 5 in my life, okay? If you don't want children, right? I'm 51 years old. I got a 4-year-old, right? That's not a good fit, right? So it's like direction in life, okay? But then you need, in contrast, of like your masculine and feminine energy, right? And even though everyone has a masculine energy, has some feminine energy, and vice versa, but we need that polarity, okay? So there's a lot of reasons and a lot of kind of little pieces here. But here's the thing. If you want a great relationship, right, and you're struggling because you're probably caught in conditional love. And conditional love is where we fall into that illusion that we go to a relationship to get our needs met. And that's absolute bullcrap. We go into a relationship to meet our partner's needs. We meet our own needs, and then we go to meet our partner's needs. Yeah, it needs to be reciprocated. But at the end of the day, I go to give. Because if I go to get, then as soon as I'm not getting what I want, I'm going to withhold. Like, you know, if you and I were in business, right? And you sold something. Well, if I stop paying you, you would stop selling me. If you stop giving it to me, I'll stop paying you. As a transactional relationship, works great in commerce, but we can't do that in relationships. And we fall down there, and then we go tit for tat. And then what happens is, you know, one person gets really hurt, and we can't communicate that hurtness, right? So what we do is we usually find a way to demonstrate by hurting our partner. We withhold love, withhold sex. We become toxic. We become loud. We all have our own little constellation of ways to do that. You can never repair a relationship there. If you're in a relationship and you're struggling with it, you have to climb back and commit to unconditional love. And if it's one of you, if it's both of you, it doesn't matter. You have to do that. You cannot solve a relationship at the level of conditional love. And that's one of my challenges with therapy, because that's what they try to do. And they try to talk about the past enough. You got to get back into your heart and love that person fully and completely. And if the person doesn't respond to it, then maybe you need to make another decision. Maybe you continue to love them for a little bit longer. Maybe you end it. I don't know. I don't know a context, but it's only done through unconditional love. And you can't do it. This is a caveat. You can't do it because you want that person to love you back, because your expectations won't get met. The primary reason why you do this is almost to prove to you your capacity to love. If I'm loving someone and she doesn't give it back to me, then I will find someone worthy and willing to play with me at the level that I commit to be playing with. Okay. So I think there's a lot there, and people can always reach out to me. I can give you more feedback, right? And more coaching, but to stay committed and not do what we call drop and drag. So person A drops down and the other person is drugged down too, or chases them. Now you're both in conditional love. Doesn't work that way. All communication when it comes to relationships, Barbara, is either a cry for help or an expression of love. If two people are crying for help, then who's giving love? Someone's got to give love. We have to learn to love our partner when they deserve love the least. And I'm not saying it's easy. It's a freaking standard. And that's where we have to commit, because that's who we are.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. There was so much content here. So I'm sure you'll probably get a lot of my people contacting you. But
please do.
Yes. So this was great. And even though we had some technical difficulties, but
it's all good.
Yes. So thank you so much for being on.
Thank you for having me. It's always my honor. And I love following you on Facebook and see your success and what you're building and just the impact that you're having on other people's lives. You're truly an inspiration. You are.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, stop.
All right. Well, you have an awesome rest of the day. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Bye. Bye-bye.